My name is Simon Brew. This is Thoughts on the Blues. On the plus side, we beat them 4-3 on aggregate, right? Hello, and a very warm welcome to a very miserable Thoughts on the Blues. Recorded the day after we went to Millwall and came back from Millwall in a very bad mood. Millwall 3, Birmingham City 0. Here we are again. Meltdown. Everything's going wrong. The season's ruined. Sack the board. Let's just dig the ground up and plant potatoes instead. Let's eat yogurt. I don't know. I mean, you turn on social media this morning and there's doom and gloom. I think we'd be happier if a nuclear bomb had just dropped. But still, there are obvious problems which we shall get into. I have to start with an absolute confession. Last night's 3-0 defeat at Millwall was all my fault. All my fault. It is a game only for the second time this season, I didn't get to watch all of. So by the time I'm actually feasting my eyes on what's happening, we're already behind. I'd like to unreservedly apologise to every Birmingham City fan because we're a superstitious lot. It was all my fault. Shame on me. Right then. We go to Millwall unbeaten. I mean, you know the ending of this, but let's just try and put some perspective on it. Just a tiny bit. We go to Millwall off the back of an unbeaten run that stretched back to a terrible defeat against Watford on New Year's Day. A 3-0 defeat, you remember it well, 2-0 down at half-time, 3-0 by the end. Didn't quite look, well, to say we didn't look like winning that day is like saying I didn't look like winning Miss World at any point in my... It just wasn't going to happen, was it? Right. Also, we came into it with the history of we smashed Millwall at our place 4-0. We hadn't forgotten it, I'm telling you. They hadn't forgotten it either. And now I'm kind of reading all the retconning of that. Well, Millwall were injured that day. Millwall were... and it's just like, No, I was at that game, and sure, both teams had players out and stuff like that. I remember that game could have gone either way in the first 15, 20 minutes or so. Then we got a goal, and then we got ruthless. Could have gone that way last night. Spoiler, it absolutely didn't. But we beat them 4-0, and we've taken 3 points off Millwall. I've said also that the run-in is all about blocks of 5 and averaging 2 points a game. We ain't going to win every game, and we didn't. And the two matches that were in front of us are the team, third and second, I think fourth and second. And as tough as we're going to get it, the flip side of that is if you want to go up, you've got to beat teams like that. Last night, we didn't really look like we were going to beat them, did we? Although, as we'll get into, there was a turning point. We should note as well up front that as much as the weekend was really good, and apparently now beating Norwich is, beating 17th place Norwich is easy or whatever it is. No, it's not. It's not. It was really good at the weekend. You can't let one bad result just like scrub what was achieved there, because how many of us went to Norwich expecting a win? If we'd have got at the end of Norwich and Millwall, 2 away games and got 2 1-all draws, we'd be saluting that. Just like, well done. As it happens, we've won 1, been smashed in 1. We've got 3 points rather than 2, and it feels really miserable this morning. Millwall fans, I forgot my little message to you. A, congratulations on your win. Don't begrudge it you at all. All power to you. Brilliant. B, this ain't for you. This is a Blues video. I understand if you want to have a hate watch or a gloat watch, but bugger off. Let's just be miserable as Blues fans for a bit. Why do you have to impinge on all of our fun? Take your 3 points. Well deserved. Bye. So, it was... God... I confess, I thought last night we were going to compete. I didn't think it was going to be they're going to roll over or anything like that. But also, I'm really aware of this cliche that does the rounds. What makes the Championship the most interesting league, right, is any team can beat any team. And A, it's true, right? But B, don't people lose their shit when we lose? You know, because apparently any team can beat any team doesn't apply to us. I think there's a mitigation here in we can have a conversation about manner of the defeat, but between now and the end of the season, we ain't going to win every game. And we didn't. But if we have an evening as poor as last night's elsewhere in the season, yeah, then we can start to have a grumble. I genuinely read a really long and well-argued post today from someone saying, Chris Davis has got to go now. And it's just like, come on. Let's just settle down and have a look at where it is. I understand that some of you watching this or listening to this, depending whether you got the video or the podcast version, will be fans of Chris Davis. Some of you won't. There are, 12 games left. Really? We're getting rid of him now? No, we're getting to the end of the season. We are having stability. There are going to be peaks and troughs. And it's anybody's guess, really, how effectively the last quarter of the league campaign is going to go. We're just entering the last quarter now. There is much to play for. But the thing about sitting there and saying, and coming out and saying the manager's got to go, is eventually you'll be right. It's just the nature of the thing. I can sit here and say whoever the new manager is, the next manager is, on day one, if I said, well, they've either got to leave or be sacked, at some point, football management is such that, apart from extreme circumstances, eventually you fail at your job and you're out the door. So then what you get is well, I told you. It's just like, well, great, brilliant. Right, so I'm going to predict that today, nightfall will happen. And then I'm going to go online afterwards and say, holy shit, it's got dark outside. I told you. Come on, let's just settle it down. You don't have to. I'm just a boring old bugger on the internet. You can do what you like. But I think perspective is really important. And the perspective starts with the team that Chris Davis picked last night. So, who really beforehand is arguing with that lineup? Now, I've sort of half answered this by going and looking. I went on Small Heath Alliance, I went on social media and stuff. At the point the team was announced, the general consensus was, that's a strong team. That's the team I'd have picked. Yeah, that's fine. The change was Osman for Gray, bringing Stansfield in as well for Doug. So in terms of what we were offering, we had a back four who's played really well, a keeper who's had his best game for us in the last match, Iwata and Solis, a solid holding midfield combination, and then an attacking four of Osman, who's looked like he can run at players for fun, Stansfield, who, the goal he got against Leicester, wonderful. Vicente, who looks like he's playing in the wrong league, and Pliska up front, who just needs his goal because he's clearly an upgrade. I'm noting that Lyndon Dykes scored against the Baggies. Clearly an upgrade on what we had. So, in terms of the team selection, I don't think many people are arguing with that. And I think most of us looked at it and thought, at the very least, we'll give them a game with that. You cut to half time and the conversation is just like, well, terrible team selection. No. Things went wrong last night, but the team selection wasn't one of them. I think it is entirely reasonable for a football manager to pick that team, particularly how well the bulk of them played at the weekend, and expect them to put in a better performance than they did last night. The old cliche bad days at the office happen, and did, but in terms of who you would pick, I mean, Damari Gray perhaps in for Osman, that's easy in hindsight. Gray's coming back from injury, a 3-game week, all sorts of permutations we don't know on our side of the fence, but there was a team selection there with a strong bench that should have competed. It should have competed, and for a while did compete. That I mean, for a little, I've gone back and looked at the games here, and for a little bit there, it was all a bit to and fro, a bit scrappy. But Alex Neil, manager of Millwall, clearly with A, with better personnel than he had last time played us, and B, with a better game plan. Amongst the many people who watched and admired our resilient win at Norwich City was clearly the Millwall scouting team, because they just did a number on us. And sometimes that happens. That happens twice on the bounce. Then we can have a bit of a chat. But in terms of this, they just sort of wanted it more, didn't they? They were bullying us. They were a bit more physical. All of a sudden, Panzo, who's looked like this great upgrade to our central defence, is looking a bit more vulnerable. Asai Samuel's had a couple of really, really good games. Now, is he as defensively solid? I mean, all sorts of questions suddenly start to get asked. And yet, there's the decisive moment that you could argue, if you were like pushing it a little. Look, it's a Blues thing, isn't it? We're Blues, so I'm allowed to go out on a little bit of a limb here. It was not quite the decisive moment of the game, but absolutely could have been the turning point of the game. You know which bit. Stansfield is on the side. Pliska's in the middle. Stansfield is running in on goal. Like any good forward, greedy for a goal. You want that in your forwards. You want them to ache to put the ball in the net. Conversely, you also want them to look up, don't you? There is August Pliska stood facing an open goal. Now, there's question marks about whether he was just running a bit towards Stansfield. Was he in a slightly offside position? We never found out, because what looked fairly clear is if you squared the ball, Pliska had an open goal. And at that point, we would be 1-0 up. You wouldn't say it was with the run of play, but also it'd have been a bit of a ding-dong to that point. Just like 1-0 up. And that would have been what? What would that have been? What, 23 minutes in? 1-0 up. Imagine that. Imagine that. You know what happened. They go up the other end and, let's call it what it is, they scored a worldie. A worldie. Aziz caused us problems all night. His strike for their first goal was superb. Superb. Beadle, no chance. Pick that out the net. The half-empty stands of Millwall, the fans rose and looked at the empty seat next to them and just went, yeah. And I don't blame them. 1-0, a world-class goal puts us behind. Okay, that's happened before. We've been down the away game template this season, that we go behind and we fold. I've mentioned it a couple of times. The prediction at the Watford game, we'll be 2-0 down by half-time, we'll lose 3-0. Yeah, well, all right, we know it happened, but it just put 50p in Millwall, didn't it? I mean, they just started like motoring just a little bit more, and we just started looking second, really. For a couple of reasons. Number one, you have to acknowledge, I think, that the opposition played pretty much perfectly against us. And number two, we just didn't have the answers. So, yeah, maybe there's a little bit on Chris Davis there. Alex Neil tactically outclassed him in this game. That's fine. Over the course of a season, it's going to happen. It can't happen twice like this with this bunch of players. This has not happened to this bunch of players yet. It's happened to some of them, but you look at players like Solis, Wagner, Pliska, just like who brought this fresh energy and impetus in. It's not happened with this group, and it's going to be all about the response. We will come to that. We will come to that shortly. The second goal, what do you say to that? A 35-yard free kick. And, I mean, people have looked at this in far more educated and forensic detail than I have. I see a fairly limp wall that, from 35 yards out, there was a chance he was going to have a bash at it. 40, 60 chance he was going to do it. A wall of two offered nothing, offered no protection, and effectively tantalised him into taking the shot, I think. I watched it a couple of times. The other option was to loop it over the wall, have players running around the back, stuff like that. But as soon as there are two people in the wall, I think the decision is made for the attacker, and he's going to have a shot on goal. And he hit it hard, no question there. Beadle gets to it, and I think that's important. There's been a little bit of criticism about where Beadle pushed the ball, but he's stretching like hell to get to that. I think it's on Beadle that the wall wasn't good enough, and I think he'll probably look at that and say that. But he's stretching, pushes the ball. Who reacts quicker? It ain't Ibrahim Osman. Not his best game for us. Bit slippy. again, yes, it was almost like a little bit back to the Stoke game, wasn't it? Bit slippy, defensively, just not alert. And wasn't doing that work. I mean, there was a little bit of that with one of the other goals as well. But, hindsight's easy, right? The fact that we didn't react quickly enough and they were able to get virtually unchallenged rebound, that ain't on. That's just not at the level we need to be. And again, credit to them for getting the goal. 2-0 up, we are in trouble. We are in trouble. And we've seen this so many times. And we're getting to half-time. We're lucky it's 2-0 as well, because Iwata, again, not a great game for Iwata, I don't think. I mean, it's hard to find too many people who had a great game. Nearly gives away a penalty. He's got away with one or two of those this season. Nearly gives away a penalty. I think had it been 0-0, Millwall would have been apoplectic that it wasn't given. It wasn't. They were 2-0 up. They were cruising. We weren't causing them too many problems. I mean, you look at the overall game stats in the end. What did we have? We had 5 shots, 2 on target. They had 11 shots, 5 on target. We had slightly more possession, but in the end, who cares, really? I mean, when push comes to shove, just doesn't matter, does it? I mean, they got 3 goals and we didn't. That's probably the killer there. So we get to half time, 2-0 down, and I think lots of us imagine what the team talk is going to be. Win the second half. That's the thing. I do like kids pan disability football. Win the second half. And what I always say to the kids is I bring them in. If they've had a bad first half, gather round, kids, gather round. Couple of things not to do in the second half. Right. Don't concede another goal straight away. Don't do that. Let's solidify it. Don't get a player sent off. Don't do that. Let's keep all of our players on the bench. The new left back I signed in, try not to get injured. That would be fine. Let's just go back to basics for the second half and win the second half. That's what I say to the kids. No, that's it. And they look at me and they obviously feel inspired, and they execute the plan to the letter. Yeah, right. So nobody's really arguing with the substitution that Davis makes at half-time. Off comes Osman. He's not had a good game. He will have better game. Listen, I've seen a rush to write him off after one game. Let's not do that. We've seen how effective he can be. Damari Gray is our Rolls Royce in that position. He comes on, looks better for the second half, but the game is fairly quickly gone for reasons we'll come to in a second. But in terms of that, I mean, it's the only logical change, really, because you go down the bench that we had and we were being bullied and out-muscled. We had Jack Robinson. I mean, he was a possibility, wasn't he? Patrick Roberts, Phil Neumann, Laird, Gray, Fushimoto, Dux, Doyle, Alsop. In terms of like a big bullying football match, who are you going to bring in to turn it? I think the bullying players we had were on the pitch. It's just that they, for whatever reason, were just being outpushed. Again, let's not forget, Millwall are above us in the table, have an outside shot at automatic promotion and in the playoffs. And people are sort of half expecting them to roll over just because Blues have rolled into town and we've smashed them before. Don't work like that. I mean, inevitably doesn't work like that. And so, I mean, I just kept thinking, imagine if we'd lost to Norwich. I mean, crikey, imagine the meltdown if we'd lost to Norwich as well. We didn't, thank God. But we'd lost any chance. I mean, 4 minutes into the second half is crap, innit? I mean, I try and put positive spins on this, but that third goal was just a disaster. Another set piece. It's just like, why aren't we first to those balls? It looked easy. Millwall's first goal that turned the game didn't look easy. The second goal, the free kick, I mean, great hit. And there was a degree of difficulty to that. The third goal, it's just like, come on in, help yourself to a Snickers on the way. Cherry Pepsi, just pop the ball there, go in our fridge, have some snacks, we don't mind. 3-0 down, and you're just like, all right, we're not going to win that then, so how could it possibly get worse? Enter stage left. The impressive to this point, Jhon Solis, who decides this is the day that he's going to do the stupid second tackle after already getting a yellow card. He will learn from this. And it wasn't his best day. That he gets sent off, and who's arguing with the sending off, really? He gets sent off on the 53rd minute for a second yellow card. We're 3-0 down. There's a good 40 minutes left by the time you add on the time. I wouldn't mind, but the reason I was late to watching the game was I was covering something for work that was absolutely rubbish as well. So I do the thing for work, then I do the football, then I come home and find the cat has pissed on my coat, and that's got to go through. It wasn't a good day, really. Anyway, 3-0 down, and Solis now out of the game at Middlesbrough. Is that going to be important? I think we've got the players, if needs be. I thought, if we're looking to search through the rubble for little sparks of something, I thought Tommy Doyle looked pretty decent when he came on. I thought Damari Gray looked really good in the second half when he came on. Now they could have really done by that stage. I do wonder if, as well, after the sending off, Millwall just went a bit easy. They realised they didn't have... I wonder if they could have gone for the throat and put another couple past us. They didn't really look like doing that. They had a couple of opportunities going through, a couple of blocks from us. They're playing out from the back. We're 3-0 down, we've got 10 men and we're fighting around from the back. I thought we looked all right and combative when we were 3-0 down with 10 men on the pitch. I mean, what a pointless sentence that is. But it's still true. It's still true. But I don't know. It's hard to put too much of a good spin on it. I think red cards are a problem. And we have now the joint first total of red cards this season. Jack Robinson has been sent off twice, hasn't he? Tommy Doyle got sent off. Christoph Clara sent off. And then last night, Jhon Solis gets sent off. And every time we've had a player sent off, we've lost. And the more worrying thing is, I watch games where teams go down to 10 men and they don't instantly look out of it. And they don't look like they're folded on the spot. And I've seen that a couple of times off us this season. I thought after the sending off, we looked pretty decent, in truth. But also, I think they started going a little bit easier on us. 5 sendings off and 5 defeats. That ain't coincidence, I don't think. Look, I know 1 or 2 of the sendings off came at a point where the game was gone. But you can't also deny a couple of them have really cost us, not least the suspensions afterwards. It's really cost us. We've got to stop this. We've got to get the discipline right and keep our players on the pitch. I think lessons have to be learnt from this. I think quite a lot of players regressed last night. There was a bit where Clara was wanting Beadle to come for the ball, and the Beadle who's been dominant in his area just wasn't quite there. And in the end, I think he went for a corner, a long throw in the end, because Beadle just wasn't coming. Clara's asking him, and Beadle's not. And, it's little things like that. I can't believe the Middlesbrough scouting team aren't watching this and thinking, well, there's a vulnerability. Let's have a poke at that. There's something there. I made notes through this. One of the entertaining things, and you've got to take your entertainment really, because where you can find it, is the ongoing attempt from the Blues TV commentary team to try and put a positive spin on some of this, and God bless them, they give it a go. I think it was 70 minutes in, they come out with, we're just looking to dictate things. We're 3-0 down. We've got 10 players on the pitch, and we've not had a shot in the second half. But sure, we'll have it. We'll dictate it now. There's one point. There was a brilliant moment actually where Jay Stansfield comes all the way back, charges back to win the ball, and the commentators go, "That's all the fight we need." It's just like, we're 78 minutes in. It's all the fight we needed. needed. Not much point having it for the next 12 minutes. Laird, I think, coming on and looking decent. And for some reason, getting on the nerves of the Millwall fans. I mean, that was entertaining. I mean, what was he? He's cut down and smacked. He gets no free kick at one point where he goes all the way through and he's chopped down. But another one, he gets a forearm in the face, has the temerity to hit the floor, gets a free kick, and the Millwall fans boo him. What are you supposed to do if you're smacked in the chops? Or just like turn around and applaud or something like that. I mean, what else? Barry Bannon. I mean, if we're looking for a positive, Barry Bannon came on and did now. I mean, usually he causes us all sorts of trouble as well. I liked the bit where the television coverage on about 75 minutes or so cuts to the Blues end because one fan is walking out. I think the camera team were looking for the bit where droves of people are getting up and walking out. It's just one bloke popping out for a vape, and it's just like, oh. And the Blues fans singing. I mean, I wasn't in the away end, but God, do they do us proud when they do that. When your team is being battered and they're still belting out "Keep Right On." I love stuff like that. I think stuff like that really, really, really matters. And yeah, I mean, I'm trying, folks. I'm trying to put any kind of spin on this. And I thought we were as much in their half in the second half of the game last night as we were in the Norwich half on Saturday as well, in the second half of that game. But no, there are things, aren't there? But, I mean, God, I wrote some stuff down, but what's the point? I mean, Millwall 3, Blues 0 is the savage end result of it all. So, here we are. Here is the check of where we are with 12 games left to go, right? We are in 10th place on 49 points, 5 points off Wrexham, who have to come to St Andrews. We're not going down. We can't finish bottom of the league because Sheffield Wednesday are gone. So that's good. And Oxford, at the moment we've got Leicester in 22nd place on 34 points. The maximum number of points they can get is 70. So it can't be 70. It is 70. Crikey. Leicester won every game left. You know, they could get up to 70 points. I bet that doesn't happen. You've got West Brom just above that. We could be West Brom. I mean, since we've played as many games as they've had managers in the last week. You know, it could be there. Although we need, it's weird this, we need West Brom to approach appoint a really good manager who can beat all the playoff rivals around us. I'm reading stuff, right? That's it. Let's just get the worst bit out the way. It was a terrible result. It wasn't a great performance. It wasn't Watford level, but it's in the conversation. Some players had some fight. We were bullied out of it. Chris Davis comes out afterwards saying we didn't deserve anything from the game. Chris, you bang on, and you've got a few days to sort it out. Okay. It's a setback because every other team midweek above us seem to do really well or get points. We are the only team in the top 10 not to win our last game. That's a really useful week for that to happen, wasn't it? But still, it's going to happen. 12 games left. The majority. So, looking forward, right? I've been reading things like, that's the season over. Certainly if Kai Wagner's injured, that's a problem. Although Ethan Laird can play left back now. But that's the season over now. It isn't the season over. It makes the season difficult, but it isn't the season over. We went unbeaten from the 1st of January to the 25th of February. That is a run. Now we need another one of those runs. And the catalyst for that run was beating Coventry City at St Andrews at Knighthead Park. In front of the television cameras, a result nobody expected us to get, and we turned up when it mattered. Right, the next 2-3 games, surely season defining. But realistically, if we go back to we need 2 points a game, we still sort of need that. That will get us there or thereabouts, and we have the tools to get it. My personal gut feeling is it just feels a tiny bit out of reach. Just a tiny bit out of reach. But then on Saturday, I was looking at a league table where we were 2 points off. You know? By the time we come to play Middlesbrough on Monday, everyone else would have played. Sporting chance, we're 8 points off. So what? So what? You can only play the matches in front of you. And let's pull out all of those cliches again. Anybody can beat anybody in this league. Yes, they can. You'd have a run of 6-7 games and suddenly you're in contention. This is also true. Do we believe that this Birmingham City team has that in it? To do that run of 6-7 games to send us back up the table? Can we keep some degree of 2 points a game and do it? The tools are there, I think. But this is what's coming up. So we have in March, and we'll know by the end of March, won't we? We've got 5 league games. Home to Middlesbrough. Are we going to get a point from that? You'd hope so. Away at Charlton, home to QPR, home to Sheffield United, away to Derby County. That is what our March looks like at the moment. So there are points there. There are points there. And to read, we can't be in this mindset where after every defeat, it's just like the pendulum swings the other way. It's a disaster. Everything's wrong. Sack everybody. Well, people do. I get it. And let's face it, we all live other lives. Football's supposed to be our enjoyment, our respite from reality and stuff like that. And then you sit and watch that, right? So I get it. But I think this is the bit where you have to hold your nerve. I certainly think that the sack the manager thing that came out of last night, too late. If he was going, it would have been after the Watford game, and then he's taken us on this unbeaten run and we've got right back up the table, right? You may or may not think he's the right person for the job. We get to the end of the season and assess it then, and I believe that's what will happen. Why wouldn't it happen? So I think the season's over stuff, if you want to think the season over, that's fine. I'm going to watch the other 12 games and just cheer and hope we've learnt something from this one and hope that we can engineer some degree of response. I do not think a defeat against a team better than us, above us in the table, is the end of the world. But I do think the manner of it is really disappointing. And I utterly accept that. As much as I'm a glass half full person, there's only so much you can put a spin on stuff like that. But feet on the ground, reality, this season isn't over. It's been a bad midweek. We did beat them on aggregate. Beat them on aggregate by 4-3. Ha, ha, ha. Yeah, all right. And it's really difficult to do this, and we've had so many of them, right? We turn up on the bad days. We got to turn up and get behind them on the bad days. Had Stansfield passed it, right? Had Prischke then put that in, this might be wildly different. These are the margins in games, and yesterday they didn't go our way, and we were beaten by Millwall, who are going to be there or thereabouts at the end of it. But what do we want to be? Do we want to be Albion? Do we want to be changing manager and the WM phone-in as soon as Albion start winning will have to be shortened by half an hour, won't it? It's just like, hey, Daz, I ain't going while he's there. Number of times I've heard that. Just like, this is the bit we hold our nerve. There are still things to play for in this season. I think there absolutely has to be a response from this on Monday night, and if not, these videos might take a more somber path going forward. It's just been a bad night, and it's been a bad midweek. But on Monday, we go again. Who would you pick? Who would you play? I mean, I bet you when the team sheet comes out on Monday, we're back in the same thing. Yeah, that's what I'd have picked. I hope at half-time we're all agreeing that's what I'd have picked. I hope at full-time we're agreeing that's what I'd have picked. I've sat through years and years and years of bad football at Blues, particularly over the last decade. I've sat through seasons in the Championship when we're circling the drain, I share the frustration with some of the naysayers that I look at this squad and I think we should be 3 places further up the table. I wonder what would have happened if our misfiring striker in the first half of the season had put 5 of those chances away. I think that would have got us in the playoff places. I think those are the margins. And I think you're going to have bad days, you're going to have good days. We got 12 games left. The luxury of having many more bad days just simply isn't there. But until it's mathematically impossible, this is far more fun than a relegation battle, isn't it? Look, I've tried to be positive. Did I mention we beat them on aggregate? See you after Middlesbrough.